Hello and welcome back. I'm bballjo and this is another test for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. I'm about to start building a new city in Season X, and I generally tell people that the quality of flats that you see for every single residential building is a soft limit to the happiness that you can achieve. Is that true? So, this is a test, so we need to talk about the setup first. Let's do the easy ones first, get them out of the way. Here are my game settings. Everything is on. I turned buildings and global events off because they randomly affected certain buildings that could affect happiness scale. Didn't want that for this test. That's turned off. Realistic mode and research is turned off because they don't affect anything. I need to build stuff. And then this is our variable, the unsatisfied citizen reactions. We have great or hard, we have medium, and we have easy. Those will be the three test scenarios that we're actually running against the city for a full year, April 1st to April 1st, and get the numbers for all the buildings that we have available. Which means the city has all amenities, which is crime, which is a radio station, which is trash, snowplows, heating plant. We do have a fire station, but that's not needed anymore. We have a small clinic. We have some amenities over here. We have a shopping center. We have a school and a couple kindergartens. So everything is taken care of. Then the buildings that I chose are from each vanilla building size, residential category size. I used the minimum number of quality of flats, the max number, and a number somewhere in between, which translates to 55, 77, and 91% quality of flats on the small ones, then 60, 70, and 94 for the medium ones, as well as 68, 78, and 96% for the large ones. In addition, I have this building. This is for overflow because this is a year-long test and people will multiply. I wanted to make sure that we have room for them because if 21-year-olds living with their parents, they also get unhappy, and when they leave, they also get unhappy. So I didn't want any of those things to affect the happiness factor on this test. In addition, this overflow platform was very, very necessary, especially for workers, because all citizens will always look for what they want in walking range first. If they can't find it, if something is full and there's no room for them, they will want to go to a bus stop and then try again, either getting picked up by a bus or try again after waiting for an hour. And I did that so I can keep this number, the unemployed number, at 0, and I added these 3 factories over here that are not producing anything, so there's no pollution coming from them. So just so that the overflow workers that we will get throughout the year can go somewhere, and I keep our unemployment number at 0 because they will get unhappy if they don't have work. One important thing is that I needed to make the save to get started from after I invited all the citizens. And all of the buildings that are part of the test besides the Nurple Flap have maxed out citizens from the beginning, but then some of them may leave and some of them do something funny or die right away, because why not? But I maxed them out with citizens when I started, and that is the same for all of them, because the happiness that they started with, the people that we got in terms of education and happiness and other stats that are there, is random. So I wanted to make sure that we have the same baseline that we're starting from, which is why the load starts when all the citizens are already here, when everything is set up. And again, it's for a full year, April to April. Let's look at the numbers. I won't go over every single number, so if you want to read everything, please pause right now. But over here you see the small buildings that I talked about. Then you have the minimum, the medium, and the maximum quality of living or quality of flats. Same thing over here, and those are the numbers. Here is a column, or the second column of the same color, is a very special column, and I'll tell you why in just a second. Remember, I always say the quality of flats is a soft limit to your happiness. It turns out I was right on hard mode. The charts down here kind of represent that a little bit. So on the left is hard, this is medium, this is easy. On hard, the blue bars, all the blue bars, are always the quality of flats, and then the line are the numbers that are represented on the side. The quality of flat, for example, on the small building over here is 91%. Our happiness that we reached was 90%. Okay, that's pretty close. That's like a ceiling. All right. Then for the medium one, we had 94% and 91% happiness. Okay, it's not as high, but it's pretty high. Okay, it's pretty close. That's pretty nice. And then we have 96 and 93, which is represented by all these tall blue button bars sitting here. So it feels very much that is a ceiling. It can't go past that number. I never saw it go past that number on hard settings. I was just like, okay, that's interesting. Let's look at the other numbers. We have the small one that sits at 55. Is this the floor? No, it only went down to 71. Interesting. Then we have another one sitting at 60. This went down to 70. Okay, we have another one sitting at 68. This went down to 71. I have seen the happiness numbers plus minus 1% pretty commonly. So what you see here is probably off by one. So just take that into account. Margin of error, I guess, is what we can call that. But I thought that was interesting. So a really crappy residential house does not cause really crappy happiness. Okay, what does that mean? I'm not 100% sure, but it made me look at the medium numbers. And I think the medium side needs more data points, but I'll leave that up to you to tell me how wrong or how right I am when you do your own test. But I have a 77 here. This one went up to 76. Okay, I have a 70 here. This one went down to 72. Okay, I have a 78 here. This one also went up to 76. All of this made me use the median. The median is just the median out of all the numbers, the 9 data points that I have for each setting, to figure out if it means something. And I think it does. I believe, my hypothesis is that in code, there is a baseline for happiness and a baseline for quality of flats. That one, if they are the same, let's say there are 76 and 76, the number will not change because that is your ceiling, and there's no effect on pulling that number down with your quality of housing because they're the same. That is your soft limit, but it's barred by both sides, which then means if you are much lower than that, you don't lose all of it. You just lose a small percentage of that number. So in this case, if your quality of living was 55, you get down to 71. I'm guessing if your quality of living is 45, you may still only go down to 70 or 69. Like, there's not a huge penalty for doing that. But once you go above that number, 75, 76, whatever that number is, that baseline number, your quality of your happiness is slightly pulled up, not necessarily to the ceiling, but maybe to the ceiling. Maybe there's no affection there, or no dynamic numbers there, because as we see here, 91 and 90, they're effectively the same thing. So it's very possible that if your quality of flat is below that 75, 76 threshold, you just lose a very small percentage of happiness. But if it's above it, then that becomes your ceiling, and you can do as good or as bad as you want. But obviously there may be some math going in there, because these are not exactly the same. And I don't think this ever reached 96%. That was interesting. Okay, let's briefly talk about the different difficulties. The graph very much looks the same. If you just look at it, there's not a lot of difference. The only difference is there's no ceiling. Everything seemed to have added some points to that baseline that I was talking about, and to everything else too. So for our happiness at 91%, we actually reached 100%, quality of flats 91, we reached 100% happiness. At 55, we got up to 76. That's 21 points. Okay, at 77, we got up to 92. That is 15? 25. 25. Okay, it's a lot, right? 15. Like, I don't know why I keep insisting on doing math in these things, but it's a big number. And then down here, we just 14 here for 70 to 84, and then 17 here. I'm just saying that for medium, you got a big bump in your happiness on top of the ceiling that you could reach, which makes me also think that the baseline is not 75. It's like 75 plus something. Maybe it's 85, maybe it's 90. I don't know. It's just a higher ceiling, so quality of flats doesn't matter that much. And then when you get into the easy realm, we are adding almost 30. We're adding almost 30 to your baseline of happiness, so you shouldn't have problems actually reaching 100% happiness. That's all I wanted to talk about, which from here it means, yeah, you can build buildings that have crappier quality of flats, because the worst you can do is probably 70%, and that's not that bad. Like 75, if you're in the middle of 75%, your Republic is doing just fine. You don't have to worry about anything. Productivity could be a little higher, but that's a different problem entirely. And I don't think that's what I wanted to test here. So, can you build buildings, residential buildings, with lower qualities of flats? Yes, absolutely. You should, you could, and you can, and there's not that much penalty going into that. You'll probably stay above 70, and that's all I wanted to know. Hope I helped someone. If you have any tests that you want me to do, that you want to suggest that I can set up, send them my way, and if I can, I will try my best to do something about it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.